Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. Before we begin, I'd like to make a few announcements. First, we are proud to announce that Sabbat the Schism is officially out now. Not only does it delve into the history and lore of the sect, it opens up multiple role-playing options for fans of the game, including new playable clans, elder level powers, and much more. You can find your own copy of Sabbat the Schism in the link below. Second, I'd like to thank RS Experiments, our local musical talent, for graciously providing the custom music you've been enjoying so far, including our awesome main theme song called Haven Dweller. If you enjoy any of the music used during the stream and you'd like to hear more, you can find a full library of Mark's work by clicking the link below to RS Experiments' SoundCloud page. Lastly, if you enjoyed tonight's session and you'd like to see more, be sure to follow both our channels. You can catch us live most Sundays at 7 p.m. CET by tuning in to youtube.com/@EriseGames or at twitch.tv/EriseGames. Alternatively, you can enjoy all our recorded sessions on YouTube. Links below. Remember to like, subscribe, and be sure to leave us feedback and suggestions in the comments below. We hope you enjoy the session. And without further ado, let us delve into the world of darkness in tonight's episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon. We join, for now, Jack, as he rouses himself from torpor upon the sunset. He finds himself in his room with the small laboratory running some experiments. And what does he do first thing as he gets up?
I'm probably gonna check if anyone is not here.
You take a few. You basically do your rounds at the Haven. As usual, Serena is out, and Abel, due to his Ravnos curse, has opted to spend the day outside of the Haven. Jasper is still in torpor, and Olivia seems to be in the room they share with Serena. preparing to leave for what seems like an experiment. And then you go check on Larry.
Hello.
And oh, sorry, you want to?
Yeah, I'll just gonna greet Olivia because it's unusual that they're at Haven at this hour.
Okay. Olivia notices you and says, "Good to see you, Jack. So, plans for the evening? What do you have? Experimentation?
Probably.
Good.
I'm assuming you too.
Yes. It seems that Jasper is in charge of whatever project I was doing, so I have time to do my own experiment.
That's
and I
always good.
intend to take full advantage of it.
You do that. Will you be here or somewhere else?
I plan on collecting a few materials.
Okay. If you need any help, you know my name.
Of course, currently I don't need any assistance, but it would be wise for Jasper to develop his convictions a bit further. Time is of the essence, after all, and if he spends most of the night waiting to rouse himself up, this can have consequences.
That is true.
Have you seen Larry? I could use some scouting.
Not really. Wanted to check in his room.
Go ahead, and if you find him, just tell him to come down here.
Mm-hmm.
You turn to leave, go up the stairs, and check within the room closest to the roof access, where Larry usually spends daytime. You open the door, and Larry isn't there. Not only that, none of Larry's belongings are there.
I stick my head out of the stairwell. Larry's not here, and none of his stuff is.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Perhaps contact his servant.
Oswald?
Well, yes.
Okay. Well, maybe he got one while I didn't see it. I'm gonna take my phone out and message Oswald.
Mm-hmm. You send a message, and you get the first gray check mark, and you don't get the second gray check mark.
Calling would be useless then again.
You then receive a text from an unknown number. Urgent. Call.
And I'll call.
You type the phone number and make the call. It rings for a moment, and then there's a click, and you hear a number of odd sounds, like clicking, as if someone was constantly tapping the phone, essentially to end the call, but the call doesn't end. And after some rhythmic tapping, you eventually hear a very faint buzzing, high-pitched buzzing, and then a mechanical click that is followed by Oswald whispering on the phone. Hey, I went down.
I assume so. Have you seen Larry?
Well, I have an idea of where he is. Look, I was doing some work for him, and turns out I wasn't as subtle as I thought I was being. Clan.
Your clan?
Yeah, clan got wind of it. Well, this is gonna sound really bad, but trust me, I had the best of intentions. Okay?
Or?
Well, Gary wanted to kill him,
Not really surprising.
and we had his location. Giving that location to you, you wouldn't be able to save him in time. So I reached out to the only person I knew would keep him alive.
Ooh.
There's a brief pause, and you can almost hear some hesitation, some fear. You can almost sense Oswald pacing around and trying to find a way to run away from this situation, eventually coming to terms with it. Odds are he's with Strauss now.
Fuck.
Look, I took a few precautions. I doubt he'll spill any secrets. And, the point is, if you want to get him back, you'll need to get into Venture Tower. That's where Strauss is essentially running the show. I don't know where in the tower he is. He's in there.
Well, that's a fuck show if I've ever seen one.
I know. Look, I set up an opportunity for you to. You guys can try and talk some sense into Gary if you want.
Sure.
It'd be much easier to get him out of there if the clan isn't trying to kill him. Okay? So,
yeah,
it might be worth considering. I can set that up, but I'm gonna be on the run for a while after. There's an alternative if you fail to make good with Gary, but we'll get to that one. We'll cross the bridge when we get to it. Just look, whatever you do, just do it quick. This phone number is not going to be accessible anymore, and I'm running out of time to use it. So, if you got any questions, hurry.
Well, if you're sure Larry's not gonna spill any beans, well, let's talk to Gary, I guess.
I'll set it up. And there's a click, and that high-pitched buzzing comes back. Then it ends. A number of rhythmic, mechanical clicks, and then the call ends.
Is Olivia still here?
Seems to be.
I called Oswald, and his family is more fucked up than mine, and I'm in both of my families. No, my clan and my mortal family.
Well, Larry did have a target on his back.
Gary wants to kill him. And most likely, Larry is somewhere you probably wouldn't like to go. Just Venture
spit
Tower.
it out. Venture Tower.
Hmm.
We can't get in there to save him. Potentially, I could pull the kill switch.
Would we like that?
Hmm?
Would we need that? Because
Well, if he's going to talk.
Oswald said he
have
tried to make whatever happened that he won't talk.
Well,
Should I call Serena?
yeah, update her.
Yeah.
I'll have a bit of a change of plans. I'll scout downtown myself. The two of you just prepare any way you can, get resources, get weapons, whatever you think you might need to do the job. We're sending in a small team to get him if we're going to get him. And if he's not salvageable, well, I did leave that creation of mine attached to his spine for a reason.
Yeah.
Alright, update her.
Already.
I'll keep you guys.
Jack's phone rings.
And there she is. I'll put her on loud.
You can see that there's some running in the forest and some wolf howls. Right. Serena says to breath as she and there's like a little like a crack of wood. The wolf howls seem a bit further. So why is Larry in the ventral tower?
Because Gary wants him dead, and Oswald decided to help the way Oswald helps.
Motherfucker. It's like here I thought that Oswald was the one to whom the generational curse of stupidity skipped. Apparently not.
Well, he told me he tried to make that Larry won't spill the beans.
And did he explain to you how?
No, not really.
So how can we trust that?
Well, we can kill both of them. Would that help, though?
Did Oswald ever visit our current haven?
Probably. Do I remember that?
Oswald did come to this haven a couple
Yes,
of times.
again, Nosferatu or Nosferatu, it's a whole other system. It's Strauss that worries me.
I think if we are to worry about Strauss in that sense, if there is a risk, we have to behave as if that risk is a guarantee.
Well, then it's a guarantee that Larry will spill whatever secrets we have here in the forest with the cathedral, whatever else we're doing, and
well, luckily, Larry wasn't entirely informed about everything. He doesn't know the location. Hell, he doesn't even know how to get into the haven unless he flies in.
Didn't you once actually ask him to scout the area above the cathedral?
Above. But that area is an entire woodland area, not just the building.
Still. Well, I do have my eyes
I
on the
can-
area 24/7.
I can pull the kill switch, if need be.
Uh,
Well,
so
Oswald will
it's
try
either
and arrange a meeting with Gary.
yeah, and for what? So that he calls off his stupid blood hunt? How are we still gonna get him out of there? You don't really think the Nosferatu clan is gonna go against Strauss and, you know, mm, go against Strauss and give us a free way in?
I don't think we
Uh,
need a way in if the Nosferatu are aware of this and are at least amicable to the idea of keeping Larry alive.
yeah, but they're not particularly amicable, are they, in the first place?
They're not really trying to kill him properly.
You said Gary wanted to kill Larry, so Oswald gave
Yes,
his
he
location
wanted.
to.
He wanted. Is Larry dead? No, Oswald brought him to fucking Strauss. Either they don't try really hard or they don't hate him really hard.
Well, my suggestion would be to still attend the meeting. Gary is
Yeah, sure.
a useful tool to
Yeah.
have.
Ah,
Plus,
fine.
if
I'll.
push comes to shove, again, kill switch. One thought, and Larry stops being a problem.
Since you put whatever you did into Larry, are you able actually maybe to see or hear through him?
Sadly, no. It was a rather difficult creation to make. Slim and rather complex. I didn't have much room to add anything special other than this.
You hear a thud on the other side, and then Serena tells. By the way, what size are the wolf pups now?
They'd be slightly larger. It hasn't been that long since you last, you know.
Right. I need a car. I need to. I need a car. You can't expect me to travel truly with pups. I'll need to drop them in a flat.
I'll
have.
pick you up. Or
Okay.
Olivia
Jack,
can
you
pick you up,
handle it.
whoever.
I have some things
Okay.
to do downtown.
Do your research.
Why are you
Or
going
do
to
you-
downtown, Olivia?
I'm doing some scouting. Scouting that,
Okay.
mind you, doesn't involve your brand of scouting.
Okay. Well, did I see by the way, did I see much into the Venture Tower when I was scouting downtown?
Actually, no. You saw bits and pieces of it, but it seems that a lot of the vegetation you could use to look inside it was only on publicly available areas that you could just walk into. In fact, it seemed quite deliberate, the positioning of the plants. You never saw anything that could be of use to you.
Well, my scouting is absolutely useless in the Venture Tower. Um, the plants there are only in public areas and nowhere useful, so you go ahead. Jack, just give me the ETA for when you arrive, and
I remember that we arrived like last week in about half an hour to the forest. Like, yeah, about half an hour, maybe a bit more if Olivia needs a lift to Camarilla territory.
Okay, well, either way, take the van.
Okay.
All right. As you head for the front door, Jack, Olivia heads for the rooftop. And you begin making your way to Serena. The drive there is rather quick, and the entire time your mind races between options of how to approach this situation. Since you've adopted the path, things have been, well, your mindset has been a bit more clinical in nature.
Yeah.
What are your current thoughts as you drive to Serena?
Would have to kill Kraus anyway, probably. I'm just, feel like stupid before the bad thoughts. Like, would that be useful? Or would that give me some idea? Like, yeah. Like, some pretty wild methods that probably not gonna work anyway. But gotta entertain the idea. Maybe like follow the path and see if my mind comes up with something that can feasibly happen and put the wrench in the works.
All right. You can roll, let's say, int and, well, what is the angle of approach you're trying to think of?
Well, since Tremere, probably like, what can we do against Tremere? Probably like
Tremere specifically.
occultish ways, probably.
Okay, so
I know.
occult, and the only specialty that will apply to this specifically is Cainite lore.
I have kindred lore, so
Yeah, it's the same thing.
yeah.
You
Wits
just
and
use
occult, right?
the filthy Camarilla terminology.
Yes, my bad. Wits occult, right? Or int occult?
Int occult.
Oh, there's the same. LS. Oof.
All right. So, after you think about the situation, specifically regarding Tremere, there aren't a lot of secrets from that clan that you're aware of, though a few things are very, very well known, especially for members of the Sabbat who, to some extent, are sworn to essentially exterminate usurpers by virtue of having the Zamichi clan as part of their sect. Number one, whatever you may think is an entryway will potentially be guarded through blood magic in some way. Wards are very common. It's unlikely that they'll use wards for the entire building, given the fact that, regular Camarilla kindred have to come and go. But it is very, very likely that wherever Larry is, if he is a captor,
He's warded to shits.
yeah, he'll be warded to hell and back. Another thing is, Tremere are very, very, very big fans of not doing a lot of the dirty work. They often outsmart people with their secret magics rather than face them head on. So odds are, you will be facing a decent amount of resistance that is not of Tremere blood. But will be enhanced in some way by it. Gargoyles publicly in the Camarilla are essentially
Nope.
equivalent to illegal.
Yep.
But Larry exists. Let's just say that.
Yeah. And he's a recent turn.
So it's very possible that you'll see other gargoyles there. It's also very possible that you'll just see ghouls or mortal guardians. And it's also possible that the sheriff, whoever they may be, because you haven't identified who that is yet, will be at Ventru Tower since Strauss is the prince.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
Well, at least I have a countermeasure to some of the Tremir's tricks.
Countermeasure that you'd be hunted for, in fact.
Let them come and die.
And as this thought rests in your mind, you stop the car at essentially a dirt parking lot, a ways away from the territory. You wander into the woods, and before you really think of how to specifically locate Serena, you hear some odd creaking noise from a nearby tree, and simply phasing out of the tree is Serena. And how does Serena look right now?
Well, she looks quite disheveled. There's probably some. She's not wearing shoes. And her clothes are more of the. Like she's wearing basically some torn up jeans and a top that looks like it has seen better days, and there's stains of blood over her. And there's also twigs and stuff in her hair, which looks like it hasn't been that well kept. She waits for a bit by the tree until the wolf pups make it there.
All right, and Jack, as you wait with Serena, eventually you hear frantic running through the bushes, and two almost dog-sized wolves run out of the tree line. One of them immediately goes up to Serena, sniffs at her clothes, and seems to sort of wander, almost in sort of an 8 shape in Serena's general vicinity. The other one approaches Serena, notices you, and immediately jumps to nip at your heels and begins to try and bite your
Serena's
your
tail
pants.
just instantly darts out and grabs the wolf pup. No, Deimos, no.
Your wolf seems to be happy to see me.
He just goes to bite everyone. Everyone.
It's not gonna
Who's
kill
not
me. I'm gonna show my palm to the wolf, so he may sniff, and if he allows, just to recognize me.
Okay. Do a quick. Well, let's start with wits and animal ken.
The difficulty is one more, because I don't have animal ken. I just know what to do when the dog sniffs you.
Okay.
Pelese.
So, he seems to be huffing a bit as Serena holds him back. His eyes seem pointed towards you. You're not sure if it's like an aggressive stare or not. So you approach your hand to allow it to sniff. I need you to well, actually, hold on one moment. Okay, good. So you approach your hand, and immediately you begin to hear it sort of. Well, it's huffing as he's being held back, and you sort of hear the huffing start to turn into sort of a.
We cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry. Essentially, the huffing starts to become a bit more guttural, as if there's sort of like a reaction building up, and the corners of the wolf's face sort of begin to slowly scrunch up as you approach. As your hand gets close enough, it snaps at you, and
Serena basically just moves him out of the way.
Hold on. Because Serena is holding him back, one of his paws slips, and he just misses your hand completely. You quickly pull back your hand. The wolf does not seem to like your presence very much.
Look. No, he just doesn't like you, okay?
Should I be offended? Because I don't feel like it.
No. I mean, look. Olivia has animalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And zero effect.
Look, I'm just doing what I've been told more than 70 years ago when a dog basically have an interest in you.
Look.
It's not a dog and it's been 70 years, but...
So Serena opens the back to the car.
Back to Larry.
Back to the car, and looks to the other one and points in.
You point at the car and say in?
At the back, like I opened
the trunk.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a minivan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Deimos looks to the trunk and then seems to continue to wander around you, but moves away from the truck.
Deimos is the one I'm holding with the tail.
Phobos. Deimos, instead, while you're holding him, he stops, looks to you for a moment, its mouth closes, and you sort of hear a couple of huffs as you let him go, and he jumps into the trunk.
Phobos, come on, we're just going for a bit. We'll come back to the forest in a bit. You're still too tiny, and I don't want any harm done to you. Come on in. I'm also going in.
Do you reach out to Phobos?
Yes.
Phobos takes a few steps just to stay out of your reach, and then, with sort of a look to Jack and a look to you, and then a wandering gaze at the forest, begins to howl. And then Deimos begins to howl in the trunk as well.
Quiet! And Serena bares her fangs.
Yeah, immediately, ears go down, and Phobos essentially goes down and begins to sort of turn, showing its belly and sort of trying to lick at your feet.
Serena just picks up Phobos and look, let's get the pups into the haven first.
Okay. Sure.
And she takes a phobos and puts I'll be in the back. I'll
No
need to
problem.
have a shower too, because I think I smell a lot like a wolf.
At this point, probably in the car, there's always like a spare hoodie for her.
No, you don't get it. I don't have shoes and I smell like a wolf.
Whatever you need, we can get.
I'm
It's not
I'm
a problem.
surprised you haven't actually noticed the smell yet.
Not much of a breezer.
Well, take a breath and then maybe you'll see why I need to go have a shower.
I'll take a breath.
All right. Are you enhancing your senses with aspects to catch the scent?
Sure.
Okay. Roll perception and alertness, please.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Two, I guess.
Well, because you used aspects, whichever one's higher, either your aspects rating or 2, that's how much the difficulty is lowered. Because Serena is quite close to you, the difficulty is like 4 already. So that
That's
so
so
that's
every
2.
dice except the one
Yeah.
are successes. Yeah.
So you take a sniff, enhancing your olfactory senses by quite a bit. And as you inhale, immediately this really, really strong musk hits you, and it prompts you to almost instinctively cover your fucking nose with your eyes. Like, if you were alive, they'd be watering right now.
Yeah, you see my point. Anyway, I'll sit in the back with the pups. You can
Oh, good.
you can open the window and you can fill me in
Okay.
if there's anything else to fill me in on.
Not really.
Okay, well then,
Let's go.
let's go. So you're saying, we're gonna need to put them somewhere.
Larry's room is empty.
Wait, what about his stuff?
Gone.
Why would his stuff be gone?
That's a question I wanted to ask Oswald.
And why didn't
said-
you?
Well, because he started going on that Gary wanted to kill him, and no, Larry. That he wanted to help Larry a bit, and the clan hates him for that a bit. He's not gonna be much of a liaison after the meeting with Gary.
There's a dull, methodic thud as Serena jumps into the trunk and closes and as she's closing the, I'll text Olivia about it. This is actually, I think this is relevant anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have assumed that if it was just Larry Sings were there, and he was ambushed. But his Sings being missing, that's way worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something else going on. So Serena sent a text to Olivia.
Mm-hmm. The first gray check mark shows. Second gray check mark shows, and immediately they turn blue, and you get a response. All caps, not now.
Okay. I didn't expect a response now.
Yep.
Do you text him that?
No.
Okay.
We're just sitting in a fucking car. What do you get if you put a La Sombra and a Malkavian in the car? And you know what you get.
while in a car, Serena just like checks that all her tarot cards are in place.
You start flipping through your tarot cards. Seems
She
like
just
all of
counts
them are in
them.
place.
She just counts them first, and then just checks that it's all of them.
Okay. And as she does this, and Jack, you drive back to the Haven. Eventually, you do arrive. You park the car using your usual method to evade the security of the building.
Yeah, Serena holds both pups.
Mm-hmm. The entire time, the entire trip in the elevator, Phobos is just looking around, quite confused about why this small room is shaking. And Deimos is continuously attempting to snap at Jack.
Shush now, and she basically, like shakes Deimos by the scruff.
Deimos basically reacts with like a quick,
Fine.
like faint bite to your wrist, sort of like a show of displeasure, but instead of snapping at Jack, he just spends the rest of the time just breathing very heavily with his teeth bared.
Yeah,
sort of like looking
she
up to
gives her
you.
both wolf pups like some scritches behind the ears.
Mm-hmm. And you eventually enter the Haven.
Right. She looks at the two pups. If I put you down, will you behave? Because I can catch you if you don't behave.
Phobos seems quite absent-mindedly curious.
Puts down
Deimos looks to you, and once in a while you catch Deimos like the glance going to Jack.
No attacking. You're here as guests.
Deimos huffs.
She puts down Phobos and is like, also, no pink.
Phobos immediately starts sniffing around the place and eventually goes up to the couch, climbs onto it, and begins to sort of explore what it is. Phobos basically ends up laying on the couch and
Is it the usual
seems
couch?
to like sort of chew on one of the pillows.
Okay. Deimos, will you act?
Huff.
You don't want to? Do you want to have a shower with me?
You begin to hear like slight, high-pitched whining. Very quiet.
Okay. She puts him down on the sofa next to his sister.
Yep. And Deimos' tail is quite firmly tucked between his legs, and he just sits in place.
Should I give him some
Right.
food while you go to the shower?
I'll give them some food after I come out of the shower.
No.
Food will be reward for good behavior.
Both
And-
the
Dogs,
wolves' ears go
your
up.
wolves, your rules.
Yeah, both the
That's
wolves'
right.
ears.
That's right. Now, this is not something we would be able to hunt in the forest usually, but it's very fatty and very good. And I have some. And this is a one-time thing that you're here, only because you're still small. And I can't leave you alone there. So, I'm gonna have a shower. You two sit behave. She throws Deimos also a pillow. If you want to chew on something, chew on the pillows and no peeing. And she goes to her room and then comes out with a plant, puts it here, and then looks at the two of them, showing them the two eyes at Herona and back at them, like, I'm watching you through the plan, just so you know.
What kind of plant is it? Is it like
Oh,
one of the
it's an
small ones
ivy.
on the table, or is it like one of those like
It's an
tall
ivy.
ones that you put in the corner?
It's like an ivy that's like been spreading around the room.
Okay, so it's on the table.
It's on the cupboard and spreading down all around.
Okay, so it's quite high up.
Yep.
Okay.
No, they are not going to topple the plant.
No, they'd pee on the plant if it was on the floor. But yes, Serena goes to shower, and we fast forward slightly until everything's done. The wolves seem to be quite uncomfortable in the area. They chew on the pillows quite voraciously. Phobos seems to just chew. Deimos is essentially at this point just ripping fluff out of the pillow.
He wants to do
Jack
that
will be
to you,
just
Jack.
basically. I know. Jack will be basically like sitting on a chair and like reading, and once in a while like, what the dog doing?
And every time you look, Deimos looks to you while still gnawing at the pillow, and you just hear like a very faint growl until you look away, and then Deimos continues. And Serena comes out.
Is Phobos whining a bit? Because I think
Definitely
Phobos is
not
whining.
comfortable, but
Serena comes out and gives some good scritches to both of them. Phobos, you've been very good, and so were you, Deimos. And so she goes to her. So she goes to the fridge and gets out two Wagyu steaks.
That's why we have a lot of resources. But also, we could hear the dog.
yes, I just heard it.
That
One of
was
the wolves just broke the reality.
Yes.
yes. It was Phobos. Phobos is uncomfortable and wants some pets.
But yes, you
What was
give
that
him
sound?
you give him some steak.
Yeah, it's yours. You can eat it.
Okay. Apparently,
The immersion is unbelievable.
yes. Apparently, Phobos seems to take it and put it on the ground, start like eating at it. Deimos immediately fucking starts gobbling it up. And when you close the fridge, Deimos finishes the steak and immediately starts looking for a way to open the fridge.
Well, if they figure out how to open the fridge, like I look at the fridge inside, and move anything that's of Jack's variety of experiments to the top shelves, right?
The fridge is
This fridge
blood,
has no...
some steaks, and that's all. Like
Okay,
blood
well-
bags and couple of steaks left.
Well, she just moves the blood bags to the top.
Yeah.
And just a second. She moves the blood bags to the top and keeps the steaks on a shelf where they can reach it, and closes the fridge. And just looks like, well, if he managed to figure it out, that's like, like good
That's
survival.
a reward for him.
Yes. And if they get into a fight again, totally natural.
All right.
And Serena is now dressed like in a long, loose like shirt dress with a belt. The dress hides her tail. She's wearing her heels, and her hair is brushed out and braided into two braids. And there's even is like a bit of perfume. Right. I feel a bit more civilized. Shall we? So where are we meeting? What's the deal?
The deal is that Oswald will try and organize a meeting with Gary, and as you know, Nosferatu, they like to tell you when and where.
Of course.
Because God
By
forbid
the
some
way,
clan don't be
by the way,
fucking mysterious.
Did you get the pages of the Book of Nod from Strider?
They are not translated, but I have a decent memory.
Okay, you can write them down.
Yep.
What they were, and I'll translate them.
Okay. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll get a notebook and start writing down what I memorized probably like a lot of it, if not all.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so apart from this, what else do you do while at the Haven?
Well, I remember that I asked Duffington for a meeting, but I need to go to the hotel to retrieve it, I guess. To get the answer. Other than that,
Serena, in the meanwhile, just like she's annoyingly paranoid now, so she's just checking that all her belongings are in place.
Roll perception investigation, please.
Okay. Does
Please, Botch.
can I have this with Auspex?
Yeah,
Can Auspex apply?
it's a perception rule, so Auspex applies.
Okay, cool.
she has a lot of aspects.
Does
This is what
discerning
happens
apply?
when you allow your players to be 7th gen.
Does discerning apply?
Yes.
Okay. So 1, 2,
Okay.
3. Okay, 8 successes.
Yeah, you do quite a bit of investigating. As far as you can tell, everything was basically where you left it. However, let's roll just a single die, please.
A 10.
Yeah. Okay. For one time in your life, or unlife rather, ADHD has not gotten in the way. So you are pretty sure everything is where you left it.
Okay.
Did VtM got updates to have roles for ADHD?
Nah, I just decided, like,
I
since
know.
that's the derangement, why not? It's a pretty common
Yeah.
thing that...
Yeah.
I have plenty of derangements, so, you know.
Right now, yes. Actually, some of them should have worn off,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, probably.
But she's still been paranoid that her stuff is stolen.
Very true.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
not paranoid because
Proceed.
she got Malcolm in her head.
Proceed.
Yeah, I'll just... At some point, I'm like, that shit is boring. You wanna go to Camarilla territory? Specifically to Elysium?
What?
Well, I have to get a message from Taffington if he's gonna meet me, remember? No
Yeah,
communication devices?
and do you really want to do that with while Olivia is research scouting?
Okay, you're right though. I'll message Leo that he should retrieve it. He should check if there's a message for me in the hotel.
Mm-hmm. Let me roll something.
Oh,
Okay. Leo responds with on it. About half an hour passes as you essentially just lounge around the haven.
Serena enjoys some good reading lights.
Mm-hmm.
Jack is doing the punishment for the third grade. He's writing.
And as you begin to finish, both of you hear sort of a very dry and then a very loud thud and things falling on the floor. As you look back and you notice, despite the fact that the wolves shouldn't be all that strong right now, the fridge has been essentially ripped from the wall and thrown to the floor. It flung open, and now both the wolves are essentially ripping open steak packages and eating.
Well,
You didn't
I
specify that they have to open the fridge.
well, I need a new fridge.
Hmm.
It's my wolves. It's my wolves. And Serena takes out her phone and just like arranges. Will be Leo able to take a delivery on? One of you girls will be able to take the delivery, right?
Sure.
Okay, I'll arrange the delivery. Just like put in like whoever you want to like to do the overseeing because it'll be during the day.
Leah. Girl.
Yeah, just put her name and
Both of you roll
Yep.
flat intelligence.
that's Booksmart Supply.
No.
I got 0 successes.
One.
Jack, while the idea is quite good, one glaring problem stands out. That doing it this way means that a handyman would have had to come here to install the fridge.
Yeah.
To the floor that technically doesn't exist
Mm.
in the books. Kind of a bad idea to have a handyman just show up unless you can, just sort of wipe his memory after. And it's not like you're going to be able to do that during daytime.
During the day. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll just arrange so that she can pick it up. Somebody load it in the car. You know. It's
Yeah,
a
just
fridge. It's a fridge. All
let's
we need
order
is
it to her place and then or to some place and she'll just bring it in a car.
Well, then maybe Leo is better. It is a fridge.
I guess.
Look, all we need to do is for him to take the van and park it back here. We can deal with it ourselves.
Whoever takes the one, they should do the decent job.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. Technically, it's not even my haven.
Technically, it is your haven currently.
The ownership is iffy.
Well, I do have a new location. If we need.
Do tell.
It's been currently been set up and all. It's in a foresty area. So we'll provide good how to say. It's actually in that place we went to visit last time.
It's not the place.
Remember when I went to pick up my tarot cards?
Mm-hmm.
It's another foresty area I own.
Okay.
Oh, but then it's bad because I'll need to buy a new forest.
Stephenson
I
wants
could
to
buy
meet...
Griffith Park.
Huh. Good luck explaining to werewolves.
Yeah, no, can do. Well, there is that
Well,
park that I really like. No, there's another park. It's with really ancient trees from prehistorical times, so.
oh, I remember now. I wanted to... Can you remind me of that giant oldest tree that they decided to fuck up with?
Yeah.
Yeah, just... I'll try to look for a piece of it, souvenir of sorts.
It's a Methuselah tree.
Okay. Duly noted. Duffington wants to meet in a hotel.
Okay, well then, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. I need to kick out Ray. She's a whiny bitch.
Of course. So both of you begin to make your way to the hotel. Are you leaving the wolves in the apartment, or taking them in the trunk? Oh, right, taking out Ray.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you begin to make your way to
We
the
can
hotel.
retcon
It's
what
fine.
happens with the wolves.
You make your way to the hotel. As you approach, as indicated, you drive around to the essentially the parking lot at the back, and drive past all the parking lot into the VIP garage. As soon as you approach the ramp, the guard posted at the gate basically looks into the car. Name?
I'll give him the name that I
Mhm.
could be using for. I just forgot the name as a player.
Yeah, it's fine. And the man checks his lists, then seems to go back to his post, radios, and then nods, presses a button, and the gate opens.
I'll drive in.
You drive in, you park the car, and making your way into the lobby, you...
At this point,
Walk.
Serena just like whispers to Jack. By the way, actually, first of all, is this hotel any places that Serena marked as possible Elysiums?
You've been directly told this in Elysium. One of.
It's Elysium.
Yeah.
As in
No, you
Ephemeral
have to.
Elysium.
Do you remember that I was actually?
Yes. This is not one of those spots.
No. Do you remember that I stepped away for a second?
That's fine. But yeah, this place is Elysium. It was mentioned, so you would know.
Serena, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we walking into an Elysium?
Well, according to the laws, we're untouchable, are we?
I am red listed.
So don't act like it.
Serena just like, Serena quickly look. Okay, so other cameras, before basically, so before they get out of the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use fluid body to change my appearance.
All right. What are you changing?
I am changing to that face I once used, which is
Yeah. I'm aware.
uh
Dark, short hair. Yeah.
no, wait, where is it? It's you deleted that one.
Yeah, because I was
This
running
one.
out of space. But I remember what it is. So
Yeah, so it's dark short hair, like soft, like mixed, like Asian and whatever features, and a bit shorter. Not 6 foot tall. Maybe 5'6", 5'7", 5'7", 5'7".
Mm-hmm. So changing your height and your face.
Yeah.
That is 3 blood
2 blood.
points total.
Not 2? Okay.
So after you make the change, Jack, basically how this looks in the car is at some point you turn your attention, like you're just parking the car. You take the keys out, and as you take the keys out, Serena seems to close her eyes, and in sort of a burst of blood that seems to reform itself, it looks quite violent and painful. Serena reforms her appearance to another woman's visage.
There you have it.
Would have been good to know that we're going to actually in Elysium. I just told you it was a bad idea, and yet here we are.
Well, I've been told it's safe.
I'm on the red list. No, actually, Serena does not say that. She just like looks to him, and you feel a pressure in your mind, and then Serena's like, "I'm on the fucking red list."
So don't act like one. Use their laws against them. According to the laws, we're safe.
So you step out of the car?
Yep.
Yes.
So you step out of the car, you go up to the lobby. You, due to the situation and how cautious Serena is, Serena, you notice that there are cameras in the room. However, you've seen this type of camera before. They usually, when they're active, there's a blinking red light. The light is not on.
Yeah, but nothing says that they couldn't have been like covered up.
Very true. And you walk towards the elevator. You go in, and Jack presses the 4th floor. After some elevator music and a soft ride up, you exit the elevator, go down a quick corridor, and eventually, on the right, Jack takes a card out of his wallet, swipes it at the handle of the door, and there is a green light that shines up and a click.
I will open the door
Mm-hmm.
and look inside. If there's nobody inside, I let Serena in.
The only person inside you see is Tappington, who has essentially made himself at home. He is sitting on one of the sofas in the hotel living room, essentially. It's not big, but it has a number of chairs. And he's made himself comfortable and seems to be flipping through the pages of a book, notices you open the door, closes the book, places it on the table, and stands up to greet you.
Oh, hello there.
Jack, it's good to see you. What brings
Good to
you
see you too.
to this busy part of town?
A little change of plans.
How so?
Well, I had to go through a bit of a loop. And you better sit down, the news won't be pleasant.
Oh boy. Is this why you've brought a friend?
Not really.
Alright. What's this about, Jack? Do you close the door of the hotel? Of the hotel room?
Yep. Of the hotel.
Yeah, okay. So the door closes, there's a click.
Serena just like stands close to the entrance, uncomfortable. But she doesn't hide it because she knows on this face and so on, it will just look like somebody's just like who's like like on the edge and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. So what's this about, Jack?
Well, do you know about Amateur Noctis?
I'll repeat. What's this about, Jack?
Well, I've spoken with a person who is really important to Amateur Noctis, and you didn't make the cut.
What do you mean I didn't make the cut? We had a deal.
Well, you know how business is. It always changes.
No. Jack, come on. We had an agreement. I provide you help from the inside. You help me move up the ranks. Now you've done quite a good job with my sire. That bastard was short-sighted. That said, just because I've risen to a certain position doesn't mean our deal is done. You're supposed to continue helping me, remember? Overtaking Strauss, all of that.
I'm curious why you didn't try to do it all before me. Why did you need to get a message from a main clan La Sombra to do anything?
Taffington seems to sort of... His eyes dart around for a moment, and you notice he's blinking a bit more. Look, I just didn't have the resources at the time, and my sire was far better equipped to do the task. He just didn't. And we got rid of him, didn't we?
You mean probably Ian got rid of him? No, I helped a bit, but you see, this clan, our blood, it demands you to take the wheel sometimes.
You are full of it, Jack. Look, what makes you think you can just fuck me over? Do you realize how much influence I have within the Camarilla? Do you realize how many resources I have available to me? I could fucking own you. You understand that, right?
Like I own your businesses.
Roll me perception empathy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also gonna do that.
Sure. Serena wants the tea.
Motherfuckers from... Yes! Oh!
Alright.
3 successes.
Yep, both of you got it.
3.
So, while he masks it very well, you do catch slight flickers, perhaps a twitch in the corner of his eye, or the corner of his lips sort of curling for just a fraction of a second when you say those words. You caught him by surprise, to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, I'm glad I at least know who's responsible for that trouble. But I still carry a lot of fucking power within this sect.
You forget. I'm of the other sect. For me, your busy position of Primogen in Camarilla means fuck all.
Jack, you have no influence in the sect, okay? If you want to do anything behind the curtain here, I'm the person who does it. And last I checked, you haven't done much for me recently. I've been doing a lot of favors for you without real reciprocation. I would expect the clan would have some loyalty.
Do you know the story of Gratiano? Of that guy who allegedly diablerized our antidote.
Yes.
He
Hail the hero.
was skeptical.
Rest
No, that shit I don't care. When our antediluvian came, he was skeptical. He didn't cover. He didn't beg. And the fact that you didn't even bother to ask for returning the favor tells something.
You can't be serious.
You know, oh, I can. You know, a person I knew in previous life once told me, what was the word? You're an ambitious. The idea of you being a prince came from this head. Didn't it?
I had that ambition before.
And what did you do for it?
Is he lying?
Yeah, I would know.
Neither of you catch
1,
any.
2, 3,
Of
4,
course, she already
5, 6,
rolls and
7,
gets 3
8,
tens.
9.
I don't even need to roll, okay?
Yeah.
9 successes!
He's being honest, if a bit misleading. And he continues. I had that ambition before. Jack, what are we doing here?
I'm doing the job that is somewhat expected of me with my position.
Yeah, this has gone a bit too far this time. Okay. I can handle a little bit of a demeaning tone of voice from time to time, but this is far too much. Get the hell out of my hotel.
Do I know if Strider bought this at all?
He hasn't bought
Did he?
the hotel. He's bought essentially the parent company that owns the hotel. So not only is the hotel under Strider's name, a bunch of other stuff is.
I don't think it's your hotel.
Well, I own it. So get out.
No, you don't.
Get the fuck out. And his demeanor has changed quite significantly.
Is he trying to dominate me?
No.
I don't think I will. So, sit down. And I'll try to dominate him.
Okay.
Is it would it be a command or mesmerize? Sit
Well,
down.
For the .1 power, you'd have to tell me which word you're emphasizing. I would imagine it's sit.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go with command.
And that will get the job done.
Yeah.
Mesmerize is a bit more complex.
Yeah. Manipulation, intimidation, and difficulty for me is lowered by 2.
His willpower is 4, if that matters.
Difficulty 2.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that's 2, 4, 7 successes.
He looks still quite, dejected, and as soon as you say that, he takes a seat in sort of like a defeated way, and it almost dawns on him what you just did.
As I was saying, in this clan, ambition is what drives us forward. Not the money, not the political influence. That's for Ventru, that's for Toreador. You might have had an ambition, but you didn't even bother to request much of me in return.
Jack,
So,
I'm still
You?
useful.
in which way?
I can do things for you in the camera. I can move pieces around. I can. If you give me my businesses back, I can do quite a bit for you.
You see, I'm not really interested in Camarilla. Because you remember when I told you that possibly it was our antediluvian who came back.
He seems to sort of freeze in place.
Well, he did, and I can't really let this secret slip. I'll just grab him by the neck
Yeah.
and do the job of Amici Noctis.
Mm-hmm. Am I assuming fangs, or are you going
Yeah.
for more brutality?
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. He attempts to resist, but it's
Futile.
pointless. Really,
Yeah.
it's futile. He can't do anything, and there are shadows that begin to build up around you, and a tentacle almost juts out in your direction. And something sort of clicks in you. You just twist your neck almost involuntarily, and all the shadows darken and retract away from you. And he freezes, terrified. And Serena,
And
all you see is Jack digging into the man's neck. A few moments pass, and all that's left behind are ashes.
I'll adjust my tie.
Serena looks to Jack. Well, we should take the ashes away.
Yeah, that looks like a tradition at this point.
No. Not because of that.
I get it.
It's because anyone with aspects could see his last moments.
Yeah.
And see brief flashes of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So she looks around for something to gather. She goes to the toilet, like a closet, seeing if there's like any broom or anything.
You find in the closet a broom, a spade, essentially like one of those small dust gathering kits.
Yep.
And looking around for a container, you do find a few, but the one that immediately catches your eye for how appropriate it is, you find that in the bathroom they sort of have these sort of stylized jars used as, essentially cups. But they still
Yeah.
have lids.
Yes, so Serena takes that, and brushes out using, like advanced perception. She just brushes up all the dust, and whatever she isn't able to brush out. I need to kick out the dogs again.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I'm
Excuse
assuming
me, ma'am.
you gather the contents into the jar.
Yes.
Jack, as you look at the ashes being gathered, what do you do?
Mm-hmm. I just ponder what my next move will be. I'd
We'll
probably
have to.
stay a while at the hotel to get his ghouls. Maybe get a new face. Pretend to be his newly acquired child. And
You
take over from
can't
there.
pretend to be his newly acquired
Unless
child.
he's thinking out loud.
Yeah.
Is he
That
thinking
goes
out
think
loud?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'd like to run this idea by my priest.
Mm-hmm.
Jack. You realize that embraces in Camarilla happen only with the prince's permission.
Cool.
Even a primogen is not an exception to that.
Yeah. Oh.
At most, you can fake being Taffington. But there is a
I
lot
will
that you would
make a
not know.
shitty job, and I honestly don't care.
Well then.
You know what I can do? I can do a bit of
RMZA?
drama and storm off from the city as Staffington.
I can arrange that.
There we have it.
Well then.
Could I tell Kian that he had no right to kill my sire? And that will be the pretense of me leaving the city?
You'd have to go and meet with Kian, and there's no communication right now.
Yeah. I'll make some cover up. Honestly, couldn't he see that he was fucked up? And like the best he could do is I can move pieces behind the scene.
Listen. You should have undressed him first. Serena walks to the closets and sees if there's any of Taffington's outfits.
None. The closet is empty. Seems this room is mostly used for meetings.
The clothes won't turn into ashes though.
They will.
The
No?
clothes.
The clothes
Are they
won't.
embraced?
Okay, well then.
I just imagine some of Brick's you'd get some braced.
Well, put on his clothes. I'll just
Mhm.
change your face, it'll be enough.
Okay. You'll go with Auspex? With Obfuscate?
I'll be still visible on cameras.
So no
Let's
point.
just say, look. This face of mine has been seen with the Anarchs.
Well, my face was seen with the Anarchs too.
No, what I mean is... Actually... I'm gonna change my face again. Actually, we're gonna pretend to be that this is a Nosferatu. I've heard some of them can even appear obfuscated on cameras. Right. So, Serena will basically do... I'm just gonna change my face again to an old woman. And
Then I'm
then
gonna collect all the evidences that can lead towards us.
I'm gonna change Jack's face to become Taffington.
All right. And as you put this plan into motion, we will go on break for about 15 minutes. We'll be back later.
See you around.
Welcome back. Later, that same evening, the car Serena used returns to the same dirt parking lot near the woods. Serena comes out and, opening the trunk,
By the way, I would have said on the way back.
okay,
Because I would have.
you may roll
I would
for
have.
the hunt.
Because I would have. Um. What for the hunt?
You can check the rules.
I think it was stealth and.
If you're going for
Stealth
ambush, stealth, and dex.
Uh-huh.
However many successes you get is however many blood points you manage to get.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1 blood point. Listen, I just get a human from off the street
Well,
on the way back.
unfortunately, the dice don't give you much of an option. 1 blood point
No,
would basically mean that you managed to get your hands on like a small animal. It's fine. You can still feed in the woods. So
yeah. Because I want to change my appearance back, so I would do that.
Oh, you got time.
And
You don't need to do much. 1 blood point
So-
covers the use of vicissitude you'd need for that.
either way, I'd let the wolves out and stretch out my senses to find prey.
Alright.
Something larger. Maybe even human, given the fact how strong they are now.
Alright. You allow your senses to heighten and expand through the forest.
And while I do that, I take off my shoes and everything, and put back my other clothing. Well, not other clothing, just underneath the attire I would have had a new shirt and some shorts.
Alright. As you prepare and allow your senses to expand, you focus, and in the attire you usually use for the forest, you sense where prey might be found. You find a few animals wandering the woods. Small animals, for the most part. A couple of predators wandering around, but nothing big. Then you catch a sense of fear in the local flora. And examining that area with your supernatural senses, you see a campsite and the terrifying emanating heat of a fireplace. And as soon as you find this area, you count the humans. There's 3 of them. And as you make the decision, you pop open the trunk, and almost as if intrinsically connected to you, both the wolves jump out and begin to sprint through the woods in the direction.
Serena goes sprinting with them.
Mm-hmm. The 3 of you sprint through the woods. Trees rush by you. Bushes essentially almost allow you safe passage, simply gently brushing against you. And you begin to smell the smoke in the air. Faint smell of alcohol accompanying it. You see the faint light in between the trees.
I'm going to speed up a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Faster than the wolves was just like not even using celerity given the fact that I have as much as I have, right? So that basically I arrive there just a bit earlier and basically just like really how to say abruptly stopped with my feet in front so that so that there's a large mound of earth, just like covers the entire fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
To put it out.
All right. As you do this, the immediate reaction of the 3 young adults is out of surprise. One of them exclaims, "What the fuck?" The others simply almost scream in surprise. And as there's this pause of silence where they look to you and you look to them. The sprinting of the wolves can be heard as first Deimos, with almost supernatural speed, leaps through the air, emerging from the tree line, and with a single bite latches onto the neck of one of the humans. Its feet touch the ground, and with a swing, he throws the human against a tree, resulting in a large blood splatter accompanied by shattering noises.
By the way, I have the Eyes of the Beast active.
That's fine. And as the now dead human spits up blood, he falls on the ground, at which point Deimos...
starts...
Let me finish.
Yeah.
At which point Deimos basically latches on to the human and begins staring at them. The others recoil, and as you look to them, Phobos seems to almost creep beside you, waiting for your permission.
And Serena starts like going around, expecting Phobos to go the other way around as they circle the prey.
Mm-hmm. These last 2 campers, a woman, and what you deduce is either a family member or a dear friend. They essentially almost cling to each other, staring terrified at both you and Phobos. Phobos bares her teeth and seems to be salivating quite heavily.
And Serena nods.
And as you give a simple nod, it takes less than a second for something very surprising to happen. Phobos takes one step, and it's almost like she leaves your sight. Disappears in thin air. And less than a second after, she leaps out of nothing from a different direction and latches onto the woman's face. Her screams muffled by the attack as Phobos begins to tear at the prey.
Serena takes the last one and begins draining it fully.
Mm-hmm. You may add 10 blood points as the muffled screams turn into gurgling and the struggling eventually stops.
Serena looks around and once she's finished draining the human, she looks around and there should be a car, right?
It seems they hiked here. You see bags and tents.
Did the fire fully go out?
There are embers, but the fire itself has mostly gone out.
So, probably no spirits of fire there.
If there is one, it's faint. Almost not present.
Serena looks to Phobos and Deimos, and says, carry them to the place.
Sorry, to the place?
To the sacrificial place.
And you were
once you've had your fill, carry the remains to the place. I'll clean up here and I'll join you soon.
After you give the order, the wolves look to you, and almost as if for a second you can almost see once more each one with a separate eye, almost glowing in the dark. Each of them clasps one of the bodies in between their jaws and begins to drag as they fade into thin air.
Interesting. Serena is going to first. She's going to take whatever firewood there was left and like stoke the embers again. And she's gonna do the summoning of them spirits again.
Apologies. Can you repeat that last bit?
She's gonna summon the spirit, like once the fire is up. She's Oh wait, that's not the one. That's not the one. I rolled the wrong one.
You won't need to summon the spirit.
Okay.
So
Okay.
as you start the fire, you almost supernaturally perceive the entity. It's not like you see it per se,
Yeah.
but you know its shape. As the fire begins to build, the shape forms this fluid, not quite tangible yet very, very present and very bright spirit makes its presence known. It ravenously begins consuming whatever wood you left at the fireplace.
Serena starts also like tearing off pieces of the flesh and dropping it, as well as some of her blood.
Mm-hmm. The fire spirit does not seem to care for the flesh pieces. It treats them as if it was wood, even though its consumption of them is slower, more labored. The moment you sprinkle some vitae onto the flames, however, there are these faint sparks emanating from the wood as the spirit, while continuing to devour ravenously, seems to have drawn its attention to you.
Greetings, oh fire spirit. I wish to learn your ways. I wish to learn how to consume with your veracity. Wood, fire, wood, flesh. Material.
The spirit seems to flicker, almost dancing with the flames themselves. It's like as you look into the building fire as it roars, the spirit almost mimics the shape the flames take.
And Serena, I'm actually gonna drop like 2 blood points in.
Mm-hmm.
Because because I need the second level.
That's fine. You make sure to bleed enough. You allow your vital to cool.
Yeah, I bleed it like onto onto wood and flesh, which I then give it to the spirit.
And as you feed these materials to the fire, faint red smoke, you seem to spot it emanating from the wood and the flesh as it joins with the black smoke of the wood. And as the fire spirit seems to consume it, its attention is firmly placed on you.
Teach me your ways, I beseech you.
The flames seem to almost be drawn to you, as if the wind blew them in your direction for a moment.
And Serena reaches out carefully despite her freaking instincts.
Mm-hmm. So I'll need you to roll courage first.
Delesse. 2 successes.
Yeah. As we know, 1s and 10s don't count as any with any special rules when it comes to virtues. So you approach the fire, your fingers draw closer and closer, and you make contact, not with the fire itself, but you sense the heat emanating from it, as the spirit seems to almost caress the tips of your fingers. And you hear a voice, this one different from the earth spirits you've met. It is a raspy growl of voice that simply demands to be fed, to be kept.
Mm-hmm. I take the objects of the, like I take the tents and everything that, like belong to the things and drench it with fire liquid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you find in their belongings a bit of lighter fluid. You drench the materials, and then with one flicker of one of the tents, you allow the fire to catch the liquid, and the flames immediately almost burst into the rest of the material. The fire roars very vividly, and
And I actually throw the body there. Well, no, I'm not gonna throw the body. The body's gonna bring to the place.
Mhm. And as the fire begins to build and grow, it's almost like the spirit does too. It reaches out to you. This time it does not require you to approach, as the emanating heat is far more intense than you thought. You begin to feel your beast retracting away from it, yet you've gotten a good enough roll that you manage to keep it together. And as the heat caresses you, the growl, now larger, more imposing, speaks to you in a far more direct manner. Keep us. Feed us.
Do I understand that I need to take this fire?
Essentially, yes.
Okay. Um. Um. How can I carry it?
Well, you look around. These are woods, so dead branches are going to be flammable. You can definitely carry fire with one of those.
Yeah.
You could
So.
probably improvise a torch if you
Actually,
had the
did
know-how.
no. Did any of the they would have had some metal containers,
Mm-hmm.
and those don't melt that easily. So I'm
They
gonna
don't. They
actually
do
take a
heat up,
metal
though.
container. I have fortitude.
Okay. Alright, so you take a metal container. Let's say it's,
And
maybe they brought a bucket.
like a pan or something.
Sure, a pan.
And I take it.
Let's say a pot, just because I like the imagery better.
Okay.
So yes, you take
Okay.
a pot.
And I take the fire
Mm-hmm. So you
with me.
scrape the materials, the burning wood from the fireplace, and you place it in the pot and begin taking it with you.
And on one of my shoulders I have the so I'd wrap it in like some fabric of mine. But I'd have like the body on me, and as I basically look to the campsite, any other things I need to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to hide.
Okay. Well, as you carry the pot away, to start with, um, it's almost as if the rest of the materials you've set on fire begin to dim. The fire already consumed it, there's nothing left but ashes. And it did not spread to the trees, luckily.
Mm-hmm.
All that's left is the now slowly starving fireplace, devoid of wood, that you've taken as you carry this burning flame in your hands. Where do you take
Mm-hmm.
it first?
Mm. Well, I take it to the. Mm, hmm. Does does our haven have a fireplace?
The Haven.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm going to actually first. I'm
It
gonna
does,
go to the
actually. I
television.
think I mentioned that it did.
Um. Well, I'm actually gonna first go to the Televillage area. It just said because that's like more water and earth connected. I'm not sure if, like earth would be like fire would be welcome there. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll ask.
Alright. Well, you approach the altar, and you find both the wolves. Oddly, they've placed the bodies in front of the altar, and they both seem to sit one on either side of the altar, watching.
Well, Serena approaches the altar, and I have made a pact with the spirit of fire, but I know you're of the more water earth variety. Should I keep the spirit in my other home? The cave is definitely not a must. No go, because she reaches out to one of the pups and the other one, giving them a scratch behind the ear. Wouldn't want them to suffer from smoke and CO2 emissions.
The wolves don't seem to respond to your scritches the way they usually do. Both of them seem to watch you almost in a synchronized manner.
What does my intuition say about this? Should I
Perception
place the
awareness or intelligent awareness could tell you something.
book smart supplies?
Well, you did
Psychic
learn most of
applies?
this from a book, so yes.
Yeah, books, psychic applies?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Alright. You've seen whatever entity you communicated with speak through the wolves directly to you. They're behaving similarly, though they're not saying anything, and the connection doesn't seem as ominous as before. Definitely the entity is watching, but it says nothing.
No, I meant more like, should I place the fire also at the
I see.
altar and make like something from the stone, you know, to keep it?
The sentiment of keeping this fire spirit here could be interpreted positively. That said, you also are very, very aware of how unpredictable fire can be. And keeping it next to a shrine in the woods, a shrine, by the way, built essentially from a tree where you performed a few rituals.
Serena looks, but this is in front, or this is in a clearing. This is in a clearing.
Yes, but there's still vegetation around. Essentially, to keep the fire safely, you'd have to clear the area, and then throughout the day, you'd also have to keep it to some extent. It's not exactly the safest option. You could do it, but it's not the safest option. Versus the Haven, where a fireplace is quite literally designed to not spread a fire. You'd still need someone or something to feed the fire here and there to maintain it, but otherwise, it'd be the safer option.
Yeah, yeah, technically this is still, he places the fire thing down. You're gonna have to wait here before I bring you to a... Actually, Marcus has been setting up my other haven.
It is set up.
Is there a
I believe
fireplace there?
I mentioned the Haven is already
Yeah,
set
is there a fireplace there?
up. Odd number. Let's say no.
Hmm. I text Jack and tell him that I'll be adding a fire to the fireplace, and I'll be needing one of the ghouls to come in and feed it during the day so that it doesn't go out.
All right. The message is seen, and Jack reacts with pure dad energy by simply leaving a thumbs up.
Okay. Well then. Serena takes out from the back a knife, a skinning knife,
Mm-hmm.
and begins cutting, like basically like dissecting. Actually, she doesn't need. She uses her fucking fingers to. Like, she uses her strength to fucking like bend the body apart, the chest, and take out the heart,
All right.
placing it on the offerings. Then she takes out the lungs and also places them on the side. And finally, she takes out the liver. The rest of the bodies, she starts tearing apart and digging, transforming her hands into something more easy to dig. Digging big holes around the roots of the trees, not harming the roots, and burying the body parts there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, could I probably do that with my earth magic?
You could.
Grasping soil, for example.
Let me read the details on it. Let's see.
Well, it rises up and crawls up, so it's not really. I need it to go down.
Let me see if it's something we can sort of allow for the purposes of the story. Yeah. I would say you don't yet have the... You're not yet attuned to the necessary extent to perform a feat
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So she basically just like...
You can soften the earth, for example. Like, you can call upon the spirit to soften the earth. But you don't yet have the knowledge and the attunement to the spirit to perform
Yeah.
larger feats.
She just continues doing that with the bodies. And finally, the two that the wolves have brought in, she hangs them upside down by the legs, using some of their own skin to basically, like, to make leather straps. And as they're hanging upside down, she cuts she splits their necks with her nails, allowing the blood to drip down.
Mm-hmm. As you perform this offering, ritualistically preparing the bodies and the organs and placing them in symbolically relevant places. Once you're done, the wolves turn to the heart that you left on the altar. Both of them simultaneously lean towards it and begin to lick the heart. Quite rapidly, the heart begins to rot. And from the rot, you begin to see faint green sprouts coming from it. And as the process ends, from this decayed mush, you see a quite vigorous, a quite well-grown flower. The wolves then stand up, look to you, and both of them simultaneously lower their heads without removing their eyes from you.
Serena sits down in front of the flower and tries to communicate with it.
All right.
Well, normally she'd think that she'd need to munch it. She thinks she needs to munch it, but she what if she meant to communicate and then she's just gonna eat it?
Well, you attempt to communicate with it. And as you do, the thoughts of a young spirit are almost overtaken by something ancient, almost infinite. And a few words ring in your mind. We accept your offering.
Serena does a bow of respect.
The wolves seem to blink a few times, and almost as if all of this was just a dream, They simply get up and begin to wander, behaving like they usually do.
Now that they're strong enough, Serena looks to them. Right then. I need to take my new friend to another place. You have grown up quite nicely, and she reaches out to scratch under both of their necks. You're very strong, and I'm quite proud to see how well you've hunted and will hunt for many nights more. He gives them both an affectionate nuzzle.
They reciprocate, though it is very clear that Phobos is somewhat more respectful of the boundaries you've established, while Deimos seems quite insistent on licking the interior of your mouth.
Serena stands up. Right. Guard this place. Remember Jasper and Olivia?
Deimos immediately seems to lower his head and
Yes, so
begins to frown slightly.
don't harass them. Well, in fact, if you see humans, you know what to do.
Their tails wag.
As for if you see others like me, avoid them. But I'll be keeping an eye out in either way. And I'll be back soon. Well, probably how much do I have left of the night?
Not long.
Mm.
You can make it back to the Haven quite comfortably. Maybe do something along the way.
Well, I might not be back tonight. You know, the safe cave, so, you know. But the latest I'll be back tomorrow.
The wolves seem receptive to what you say.
And Serena takes the fire thing and starts heading back out of the forest because I'm sure she cannot walk through a tree with the fucking fire.
Yeah, that's bound to go well. So you begin to make it back to the Haven with the fire, and as you enter the car and drive away from the woods, leaving behind your pups, now grown into quite capable hunters, we will end the session here. We will see you next week in the next episode of Vampire the Masquerade Beyond Armageddon.
You can hear huffing and huffing from...
Yes.
You deceived me.
We'll see you next week, guys.
You deceived me.
Thank you for watching.